Good evening, my dear students. So today we have another topic, and in this RBI's topper talks, we will discuss the story of hard work. We will share the story of consistency. We will share the story of determination, and these three are very key important pillars in order to crack any examination. Today, in order to narrate his success story, today we have Mr. Utkarsh Sachan, who recently got qualified for the RBI Grade B 2024 examination. And for this, I would like to give I'm congratulating you, Utkarsh.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, you're welcome, Utkarsh. So today we will understand from Utkarsh only that how he prepared the RBI examination and what is the education qualification of Utkarsh, how many attempts after how many attempts he made into the RBI Grade B examination. So everything we will listen from Utkarsh himself. So Utkarsh, please.
Yes, sir. So I belong to Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, and I completed my schooling over here. I did BCom honors from Shri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University in 2018, and there I decided to pursue UPSC Civil Services examination. I gave 4 attempts till 2022, and to clearing it. But after that, it's when I decided that it's time to move on. And so I was looking for similar exams where the knowledge that I gained during UPSC preparation can be utilized. And that's when I got to know about NABARD, RBI, and SEBI exam. And since I had background in commerce, so FM portion of RBI and ESI portion of RBI and NABARD, as well as the finance and management portion in and companies act etc portion in the SEBI. These were the overlapping portion. And SEBI required post graduation. So as a plan B, I started my MCom post graduation from Department of Commerce, Delhi University, as well as I decided to pursue NABARD and RBI preparation. During NABARD preparation in 2022 attempt, I got till the interview stage, and I missed by 0.75 marks the final selection. And next year in 2023, I pursued RBI. Again, I reached till the interview stage and missed by 7 marks the final stage. And now in 2024, I gave all the 3 exams after completing my postgrad, SEBI, NABARD, as well as RBI. I got till phase 2 of SEBI and NABARD, and RBI, fortunately, I cleared this year.
Okay, very nice. It means here everyone need to note one thing, that consistency and determination is very important. As Utkarsh has already discussed that how he after getting attempted various examinations, after attempting the UPSC examination, he smartly moved to the regulatory body and then he tried to start preparation for the NABARD, SEBI and RBI because things are overlapping actually. तो बहुत अच्छा स्ट्रेटेजी था उत्कर्ष आपका और फाइनली आपने सक्सीड किया आरबीआई ग्रेड बी में 2024 वन ऑफ द टफेस्ट एग्जामिनेशन वी कैन कॉल इट
Thank
लाइक मदर ऑफ ऑल द एग्जामिनेशन इन रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज तो उसमें आपने compete किया
yes, sir.
और बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट रहा आपका तो और इस बार क्योंकि वैकेंसीज भी काफी कम था तो
Yes, sir.
चीजें हाँ बहुत बच्चों के अंदर में ये फियर था कि यार हम कर पाएंगे नहीं कर पाएंगे बट स्टिल यू हैव मेड इट और
Yes, sir. I would just like to say one thing over here. So there are the things which are controllables in life, and then there are the things which are the uncontrollables. So the date of notification, exam date, and how many seats are there in the exam, those are the uncontrollables for us. What is the controllable for us is the strategy that we are forming in terms of the preparation, the sources that we are using, the amount of hours we are putting in. So I think apart from thinking just for maybe a few minutes on the uncontrollable part, it's very effective for all the aspirants to move towards the controllables part of the exam as well as in general in life. So in that case, we can overcome the fear and move towards the direction in which we are there.
ओके ओके हम बहुत अच्छा आपने पॉइंट रेज किया अनकंट्रोलेबल फैक्टर्स को हम लोगों को इग्नोर करना चाहिए और जो कंट्रोलेबल थिंग है दैट इज आवर प्रिपरेशन आवर स्ट्रेटेजी एक्चुअली और द
Yes.
सोर्सेज फ्रॉम वेयर वी आर प्रिपेयरिंग, उस पे फोकस करना चाहिए। और हमें अपने आप को लाइक वी नीड टू डू कंसिस्टेंटली हार्ड वर्क इन ऑर्डर टू क्लियर एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन इन आवर लाइफ, राइट। चलो, तो फिर
Yes.
आरबीआई जो है, आरबीआई इज लाइक 3 phases ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन इज देयर। सो वन बाय वन लेट्स डिस्कस दैट व्हाट्स योर स्ट्रेटजी इन phase 1, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल
Yes.
जस्ट।
Yes, sir. So, as we know, there are the four important pillars in phase one: quant, reasoning, English, and general awareness portion. And personally speaking, I am not very good at quant and reasoning part. So, I focused only on clearing the sectional cutoffs. And since the seats were reduced, so I tried to cover at least 25% to 30% sectional cutoff. That was my goal for the preparation. And during the past year prep, I got through some very good marathon videos of VD sir, and I pursued that. And then I supplemented it with the practice mock mocks, as well as various other questions from various other institutes. So that was my strategy. Now, here just one thing which I would like to point out, that uh, that that we can know the topics in quant and reasoning, but in the exam it's the mental aptitudes that is tested. For example, I prepared quadratic questions very good this year, since every year RBI gives 2 to 4 questions of quadratic question, but in this year exam there was no question of quadratic equation. Now we can get scared at that time, and definitely we'll get scared at that time, but the thing is to move towards your next favorite topic, or the next topic which you are strong in. So the next topic that I was comfortable in was the data interpretation part. So I started doing the first DI that looked easy, but I couldn't do it. And just 10 minutes were left in the quant section, and that's when I composed myself for 5-10 seconds and started doing second DI. And fortunately, the second DI I cracked, and I was able to do it. So a few things which I would like to tell the aspirants over here, that in the home setup and the exam setup, the things are a bit different. In the home setup, we are quite comfortable, as well as we have speedy internet, perfect computer systems. While in the exam, if you change the question from one question to second question, there is 2 to 3 seconds time lag, and that time lag cost us 3 to 4 minutes per section. So we need to take care of that while preparation itself. So this was the quant and reasoning section. Similarly, in the reasoning section, I was comfortable in the topics like syllogism, critical reasoning, equality, inequality, and these were the questions that I focused upon. And I attempted all the questions in these topics. I was not very comfortable at puzzles, so I didn't even look at the puzzles in the exam, and I tried to solve all other questions apart from that. Coming to the English section, I believe that after clearing the sectional cutoff, the overall cutoff, the main component is the English and GA portion. And if we can increase our score in the English portion, which is achievable, then the tricky part of GA can be humbled upon, because GA we don't know what type of questions will come, whether we'll be able to do those questions or not. So that uncertainty part of GA can be tackled by increasing your score in the English portion. And for English, I attempted a few mocks, and I was comfortable in English all the time, since I have been reading newspapers since childhood, the Hindu newspaper during the UPSC preparation time, and then Business Standard newspaper during the regulatory bodies preparation time. So I think that helped, and I was able to score good in English. And sir, coming to the main portion which we prepare, the GA portion, general awareness portion. So one thing which I believed in this year prep was to have concise material and prepare from one source, but multiple revisions. But when it comes to mocks, we need to give mocks of various institutes that we can get into, whether the free mocks or any paid test series if you have taken. Why this is important? Because there are various techniques in the MCQs, like the elimination technique is there, uses of extreme words in the MCQs is there, and that can only be prepared while giving so many mocks and attempting thousands of MCQs. And so I focused on that, and I tried to prepare from one single source and did many revisions. I had a small group of friends. We had a group of 4 friends, and we used to come on Google Meet, and every day for 1 hour to 1.5 hours, we used to discuss all the topics that we prepared. And since we used to and fro ask questions from each other, so the factual part, since there is a lot of factual data to cram upon, that factual part became easy by having a good discussion with like-minded friends. Yes, sir.
Okay, so because very nicely you have discussed the strategy for phase one, and here one thing we need to note down for every aspirants, that you should have a strategy before preparing, before starting preparation for any sort of competitive examination. And for RBI itself, you should have a perfect strategy, that how you have to tackle the quant reasoning and English portion, and you should not be prejudiced before the examination, that no, I have to deal with this. I'm good with this part of our quant, or deal good with this part of reasoning. So I will attempt this only. So don't be emotional in the paper. Just you need to know that which section I would compete in the examination. That is more important, right? Or
Yes.
as Utkarsh said, GA, for the GA1, you need to have proper practice with as many as mocks, as many as possible, right? So that makes actually you can have a good quality of questions, a collection of good questions over there only. So that we have understood. Very good, Utkarsh. Thank you very much for sharing this information. And say, Utkarsh, what about phase two? Phase two, we have a combination of like objective part as well as subjective part, and there is a static syllabus in RBI itself, and it's a big syllabus. Okay, so how you deal with all these things?
Yes, sir. So I was fortunate over here that I prepared for UPSC and I prepared for the mains part of UPSC as well. So I was always comfortable in the descriptive portion of the answer writing. So we know there are various approaches to answer writing, like the intro, body, conclusion type. Then we have pastel approach, so as to have various dimensions in the answer. Then so these were the things that I was comfortable in. I just had to practice on the speed and the typing practice. So that's what I worked upon. So I took various Zoom sessions that you conducted on the phase two answer writing. Since this year, I left UPSC preparation in 2022. So it was 2 years since I left that preparation. So while seeing the answers of the various coaching institute as well as attending your Zoom sessions, I got back in the groove of the answer writing and that intro, body, conclusion, and uses of different approaches, subtopic approach. And that I came back again and I prepared few answers, focused on the answer writing speed, and I was able to do it. Here, this year, what I focused upon is uses of minimal grammatical errors and uses of short, concise, but good sentences in the descriptive section. So I don't know what's the checking pattern of IBPS, whether they use artificial intelligence or it's purely manual checking or a combination of both. But I do believe that if we write good sentences, if there is minimal grammatical error, and if we stick to the topic that is asked in the question, then we can achieve good marks. Coming to the English section, I had a different strategy than what I talked to the other aspirants. Most other aspirants start with the essay or precis section and then move to the reading comprehension section. I actually followed completely opposite to this. I did RC first, and then I moved to Prezi, and then I moved to the essay section in the exam. Uh, I had my reasoning on this because I was comfortable in the essay portion since there is at least one economics or social issues related topic in the essay. And due to my background in the UPSC preparation, I'm very comfortable in those topics. So I was like, even if I have less time in the essay at the end, I can I can buckle up and use that time. And even if I'm short of 50, 60 words, that's fine because I'm completing 80 to 90% of the word limit and that should work. But in RC, if I leave even one question, then that would cost me 10 marks. Full 10 marks, I'll get zero, right? So, and RCs are getting trickier in RBI. I still remember in 2023 attempt, the RC was not straightforward. After reading each question, we had to read nearly 3 to 4 paragraphs of the RC again and again so as to get to the answer. So that's why I did RC first, then I did the Prezi part, and then I did the essay part. But I'll again say that this was a personalized approach for me. The aspirants need to tackle their own approach by giving a lot of mocks, as many mocks as possible. Now, what I also did, what I tried to practice one answer per day before the notification part. And so that got me in the groove of the answer writing. And I believe that that if one answer per day is like 30 minutes of your day, and you can take any question, be it PYQs. We have so many regulatory bodies exam, we have so many PYQ, and we have so much free resources available of so many coaching institute. Just take one question, attempt it every day, and compare it with the model answer. Or now we have Chat GPT, DeepSeek, etc., etc. So many AI platform. Just put your answer in those platform. Give the command to check the answer out of 10 marks or out of 15 marks, and work on it, and that would work good. If you are if I believe that if the candidate is descriptive portion ready before the notification comes, then it becomes quite easy to tackle the GA portion of phase 1, and post phase 1 the objective portion of the phase 2. That was my quick strategy that I followed for the descriptive portion of the exam. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is very important as well because this year only we have, and usually we get very less time between phase one and phase two. So it is
Yes,
very important to complete the entire syllabus at least before the phase one itself. And what you have said right now only, that practicing one question daily is very important. And and while practicing, you have to work on your error part. Means minimizing the error is very much important, right? Okay,
yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. And what about the management part? See, many of the students actually think that management is like a scoring thing, and we also know about it that management in means doing very less work on management, we can score a better marks. So, what's your strategy, particularly for the management one?
Yes, sir, definitely. So here also another important thing, that I had commerce and accountancy optional during my UPSC preparation, and nearly 90% of the topics that we have in RBI were overlapping with my optional preparation of UPSC. So that helped me a lot. So I just had to revise from a single source. So I took one coaching. I went through all the notes. I went through all the notes of that platform, and I was able to grasp the topic. Now management is easy, but you have to put the so I always say that you have to check the cost to benefit ratio of all the things that you are doing. So obviously in FM portion, the management has the better cost to benefit ratio, since out of 4 questions that we have to attempt in the descriptive of FM, you can get 3 questions of management, and you can attempt 1 question of the finance question. And so cost to benefit ratio is high. And for the objective portion of management, again, we have so many MCQs available in the free platform, in the paid form. And I believe if someone is doing more than 1,000 MCQs of FM, he or she has a very good chance of getting a very high marks in the objective portion. We don't have phase 2 marks out yet, but last year there were so many candidates who achieved more than 35 marks, some even more than 40 marks. And I remember one candidate even scored, I guess, 48 marks out of 50 in the FM portion. So these are the small things that can help in achieving a good score in phase 2. And also we need to remember that if we have a good margin between the cutoff and our phase 2 score, then the uncertainty of the interview part is tackled. And that's when I say that we need to focus on the controllables and not the uncontrollable part. Interview is bit of a uncontrollable for us. How that day will go on, how the panel is judging us, that is a third party thing. We can only prepare for a bit, but phase 2 is completely in our control. Objective portion is our control, subjective portion is our control. So that is one portion that we can work effectively upon, and lessen the impact of the interview ones.
All right. So maximum practice means you are suggesting that at least 1,000 questions we need to do in the FM part, right? Before
Yes,
appearing the
sir.
examination. So,
Yes, sir.
and since you have an UPSC background, so it is bit easier for you for management. But please suggest something for non-UPSC background students.
Yes, sir. It depends on the time that the aspirant has. If the aspirant is really interested in the management topics, like the Maslow's theory, ERG theory, etc., then they can go to the reference book as well. Like we have LM Prasad book and other books. Then because those books are the reference material from which most of the coachings prepare their own notes. So if the candidate has time, then they can go to the source material. But since I believe most of the aspirants that are there in the regulatory bodies, those are the working professionals and don't have much time. So just follow one coaching institute notes. Nearly all the coaching institute notes have the same source. Just look for 2 to 3 coachings, see in which notes you are the most comfortable in, and if you have time, then go for their classes as well, because audio visual medium increases our concentration as well as increases our retention ability. So the candidates can focus on that part. And what I believe, the candidate should always read one newspaper per day, one financial newspaper. That has worked wonders for me in nearly all the phases of the exam, be it GA, be it English, be it a descriptive portion of the phase two, and be it the interview portion. So that is one thing that will give you best cost to benefit ratio, I believe. And yes, sir. So that's my 2 cents on that.
So here Utkarsh has suggested to go through one, at least one financial daily newspaper. And because we are also seeing very diverse nature of question, very dynamic nature of question in finance itself, right? So in order to tackle those questions, one should must follow one newspaper, one financial
Yes, well,
daily newspaper.
for if I may say that there was a question on 81 bonds that in the phase two paper, and that many candidates found tough to tackle. But there were many articles in the newspapers on the 81 bonds that SBI had released 81 bonds, and there was a Yes Bank case few years back, and that was also the case. So if we had been reading the newspaper, then we could have written at least something on the 81 bonds, and instead of zero, we could have gotten, say, 5 marks or 6 marks in that
Yeah,
answer. So
yeah, definitely.
that's one thing. Yes, sir.
Because such type of, actually they used to frame in the RBI now, we can see that they used to frame questions from the current affairs on. Okay,
Yes,
either
sir.
in phase one or in phase two. So if you were somewhere linked to the current affairs, in linked to the financial daily newspapers, then it would be easier, comparatively easier with respect to other students, right?
Yes, sir.
And Utkarsh, so the final strategy for the interview one,
Yes, sir.
let's last phase of the RBI. So how was your experience in the interview?
So, sir, here I'll compare my experience to the last year, 2023 interview with the 2024 interview, and I'll try to make a comparison and what changes I made in my interview preparation in both the years. So, so in 2023 attempt, I believe that I had a hazy approach and I was not very comfortable with the questions, and I was not very comfortable in speaking to our audience, maybe. And that's why in the last year's interview, the questions that I knew, even those questions I couldn't attempt in the interview when the interview panel asked those questions. For example, the interview panel asked me the exports figure of India last year in the 2023 attempt. And I believe all the aspirants would know the export figure of India, how much export we have, what are the top 5 export, who are the top 5 exporting nations, who are the top 5 importing nations of India. But I don't know what happened at that time. It was the interview pressure. It was the lack of revision, maybe. It was maybe the lack of practice. So I couldn't answer that question. And that downhilled my confidence a lot. And then the interview didn't go as well. And I got 41 out of 75 marks in the last year's interview. And I missed the final cutoff by 7 marks. So that was my last year's interview experience. This year, what changes I did? I took one mentorship-based course, a mock mentor program, and I tried to follow that strategy that the mentor gave me. And plus, I had a group of friends with whom I practiced daily for some time, and we took each other's interview. Plus, I adopted mirror practice this year. I stood myself in front of the mirror, spoke on a few questions that I got last year or the transcripts that were coming, and made myself comfortable speaking to myself. I believe that is an important part. Rest the sources of the interview are nearly the same for all the candidates. There is a functions and working PDF. There is RBI website. There are FAQs on RBI website. One financial daily newspaper every day. maybe 5 to 6 months, 5 to 6 month back, uh, 5 to 6 month back current affairs, which we can cover from any magazine. So those points I believe are good for everyone. This year I gave a lot of mocks. I gave clarity for sure mock as well, and the panel was really good. And I got constructive feedback on that. I took various other coaching mocks. I took two offline mocks as well this year. So that because most of the coachings had online mocks this year, so I believe that I took two offline mocks as well, so as to get comfortable in that process. Yes, sir.
Okay, Utkarsh, thank you. And can you recall some of the question from interview, because it is very exciting part for many of the aspirants who are preparing. So can you able to recall some of the questions?
Yes, sir. In fact, I have prepared my interview transcript. I'll forward it to you for the larger benefit of the community. And I remember that when I got in the interview room this year, the chairman, sir, Mr. Sudesh Srivastava, sir, he recognized me from last year's interview. That oh, you came to the interview last year as well. He himself asked me what mistakes did I commit last year. So I myself told him, sir, I was not very confident last year, and I missed the exports figure of India, the basic questions, and so that made me comfortable this year. And then there were most of the questions are in the interview are from your either your academic background or your work experience portion. That was the feedback from nearly all the candidates, and the same feedback for me as well. Most of the questions for me were from the core finance portion. First question I remember they asked me was the difference between auditing and inspection. Then a few minutes discussion happened on that. Then last year Silicon Valley Bank collapse had happened. We had a good discussion with the panel on that. Then there was a discussion on the capital framework of the banks, the 81 bonds, the 81 bonds. So the 81 bonds question that we had in phase two, that held me over here as well. We had a discussion on 81 bonds, set one capital, tier two capital, and chairman sir asked me few questions from the accounting policies of the balance sheet of RBI. So I remember he asked me what I read from the annual report of RBI. I said, sir, I have read the balance sheet really well. So he said that everyone reads the balance sheet, but since you are from commerce background, I expect you to know beyond the balance sheet. So beyond the balance sheet are the accounting policies that the RBI follows. There is a chapter on that in the annual report after the balance sheet. So fortunately, I had read that, and we had a good discussion on that as well. One case study question was asked by a lady member that if I was an RBI governor, what three changes I'll bring to the system. So that took me by a surprise because that was a new question. I thought for 6, 7 seconds or so. Then I remember the 2 points that I gave. The first point which I gave was the communication aspect. That Shaktikant Das sir had really worked on the communication aspect of the RBI. That the general public still doesn't know much about the working of the RBI. That apart from issuing currency and inflation taxing, what are the other functions of RBI? Even we candidates don't know. So we can't expect the general public to know. So RBI should move more towards more to work towards more towards the communication aspect. Then one point I remember in the same question which I said was the hands-on approach that the RBI is following, and there was a regulatory review authority that RBI had brought, and it expunged some 400 outdated circulars. So I said that I believe this is a good approach that RBI is a regulatory body at the end, and the ease of regulation is one of the things that RBI is working on and that it should work upon. So I had a counter question on that, that if this is the first time we are having a RRA, that is a regulatory review authority. So I had read that no, this was the RRA 2.0. The first RRA 1.0 was in 1999 by Honorable YB Reddy sir, who was the then deputy governor. So since I was able to answer tier two questions as well, so I believe the panel was happy. So one thing here, so we have three levels of question mainly. There is a tier one question, tier two question, tier three question. For example, tier one question was for me, if you are RBI governor, three things would you do? I said RRA in that question. Then came the tier two question, that what is RRA? Is this the first time RRA we are having? Then there will come a tier three question maybe. So tier one question, I believe that we should know definitely. And if we are able to answer tier 2, tier 3 questions that are being generated from your answer, then that is a spot on very good interview. Last year this didn't happen for me. This year it quite happened for me. I had a question on interest on capital, and we had a really good discussion with Gusan sir. He is on LinkedIn. I'll suggest all the aspirants to look on him on LinkedIn, as well as there is one more sir, I am not remembering the name, who post very good post related to banks and RBI and regulatory function. So yes, sir, this was my interview experience.
So you have a very good like discussion, a healthy discussion in the with the panelists
Very
itself,
healthy
right?
discussion. Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So means here you want to suggest that for the aspirants who are going to appear for the next year interview, that whatever you answer, you should at least know a concrete information about that answer, right? That
Yes,
would
sir.
make clear. Means your interview might go in that direction. So whatever you answer, you should know about that.
Yes, sir. It's our answers which decide the direction of the interview.
All
So
right.
we need to throw some keywords in the tier one question in the first answer that we are answering. We need to throw some keywords like RRA or factors of production. I remember I said one word and we had a subsequent discussion on that. So this will come by preparation. I don't think the candidate should work currently on that. First, candidate should focus the phase one and phase two exam, which have less selection ratio, and then we can work on that. Just one thing which I would like to tell candidate: read the newspaper every day. I believe that's one thing that has helped me a lot, and that will help you a lot in the interview prep as well, definitely.
Means here, Utkarsh, we can say it's a very good point for aspirants actually. They can mend their interview in their direction by answering the
Yes, sir.
questions, right? So students can use this strategy while appearing for the interview in RBI. So, and anything else you want to add on, like anything else you want to tell to the new aspirants who are going to have their attempts in 2025? So, any
Um,
suggestion from your side?
so yes, sir. So
Beginners,
just one.
beginners one.
Yes, sir. So to the beginners who are coming in this journey, it is going to be a very knowledgeable journey. It is going to be a good journey. You'll learn a lot. You'll know more about the country. You'll know more. You'll be a better person, better knowledgeable person, who'll know how the country works, how the financial system of the country works, and you should be proud in that knowledge. And to clear the exam, I believe just start it. Once you get in the groove, I believe sometimes we over strategize something. Don't over strategize. Get in the groove. You will make one or two mistakes in the start, and that is I guess every aspirant makes that mistake in the start. But only when you'll start the prep, you'll get in the groove, you'll read the newspaper, you'll read the PIB portion, you'll do some mistakes in the quant and reasoning section. Then only you'll know which are your strength portion, which are your weakness portion, which material is working for you, which material is not working for you. So do take advice of the mentor, do take advice of the coaching teachers, do take advice of like the toppers interview we are having, but at the end form your own strategy and work on it. The strategy will evolve every week, it will evolve every month, it will evolve, but start it. And and you'll clear it if you are on the right path. Yes, sir.
Okay, Utkarsh. So, rightly suggested. Do take a strategy from the mentors, do take a strategy from the toppers top. And here we have Utkarsh himself in order to give you a strategy. So, I would also suggest to the new aspirants to do take a strategy from the Utkarsh also. Right. So, that would definitely benefit the new students. And what about those students who are appearing consistently for the RBI or any other examination, but they are not going to make it? Like, for them, few words I would like to like if you want to say
uh,
something.
So, sir, everyone has his or her own journey, and so there, I think, can't be one generalized approach on that. That I'll give one suggestion, it will not work for the larger audience. But if I can segregate the advice for the aspirants, if the aspirant is planning on the another attempt for him or her, then I believe since the aspirant might have given one or two attempts before, so the aspirant should first know what was the weakness part, that where did he or she lack, what it was it the Was it the sectional cutoff of the quant reasoning section, or was it the overall cutoff that the aspirant was not able to recall the facts in the GA portion, or missed a cutoff by 1 or 2 marks or more marks in the content reasoning section? If that analysis is done, then only we can come to the second step of working on that weaknesses. If for example, many aspirants this year couldn't clear the quant cutoff. So that was because the mainstream question of quadratic equation was not there, which everyone used to work upon. So have that secondary preparation aspect as well. Prepare DI question, prepare data sufficiency question. There are literally lakhs of question available on YouTube, available on free platform, available on the paid platform. Work on that. Give every day 1 hour to that topic. If you are not very good at the factual portion of the part, then you have to revise and revise. 4 times revision, 5 times revision, 6 times revision. Discuss it amongst like-minded friends. Attempt thousands, 2,000, 3,000 MCQs. Attempt hundreds of mocks. And if you will attempt so many mocks, if you will revise 4 to 5 times, there is no chance that question won't hit in the phase 1 exam. And if you are not able to clear phase 2, then work on the answer writing part. It's the most scoring portion. It has the most weightage. Yes, sir. So that's my 2 cents on that. And if you have decided to leave the journey of the regulatory body prep and move on to the next phase of your life, then that is perfectly fine. I couldn't clear UPSC, the first dream that I saw, and then I moved to the my MCOM and post, and after that the regulatory preparation. It happens. It's life. We don't get all the things. We don't get all the things that we want. So no worry. Just have a moment in solitude. uh, Go to your journey, that what are you learned in that journey, 3 4 5 years, whatever you have put in that journey, what has changed you during this 3 4 5 years. Definitely there would be a lot of positive changes, maybe a few negative changes as well. We need to learn from it, and then we need to move towards the next aspect of life. No one is a failure. An exam doesn't One exam can't decide. We have our own strength and weakness. Other aspirant has his or her own strength and weakness, and someday definitely something will be there that those skill set will match, and that will work for the candidate. Yes, sir. That's my 2 cents to everyone.
Uh, Thank you, Utkarsh. You have shared a very valuable information for those aspirants who are continuously preparing and finally somewhere they are getting stuck out and not getting into the final list. For those aspirants also, you have told that work on the weaknesses apart from identifying your strengths, right? And do maximum practices. Revision is the key word behind the success, and these things actually work. Definitely, it will work. So, Utkarsh, it's been nice to talk to you. So, and finally, once again, I'm giving you many heartiest congratulations to you to get into RBI Grade B 2024 examination. And
Thank you so much, sir. It was really nice interacting with you. We had some talks previously as well on the call, and it's really nice to talk to you every time we get in touch. Thank you, sir.
thank you for the appreciation. Okay, thank you, Utkarsh. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
take care of yourself.